Hey, what is going on, Pisces? Butch Tarot here. Let me start off by saying we just entered Pisces season. Happy birthday to all my Pisces out there. I am going to do your 1 week read. It is a general read, so it may not resonate with everyone. It is for your sun, moon, rising, and your Venus. For all you cross watchers, roles can be reversed. Always feel free to comment down below. With that being said, let's get it. Yours. What do we got for Pisces? What is going on for Pisces? What message do we have for Pisces? All right, Pisces. Let's get right into this. So the first thing, Pisces, I feel this really strong connection. Now, I feel like this is a fairly new, so this can be, for some of you, this may be somebody that you already know. For others, this is someone that you are going to meet. But it is still a new energy. And like I said, for past people, someone that you already know, I mean, energies can change between two people, so put that out there. First thing I see, Pisces, is I feel like when we start off with the Fool, it's the beginning. It's the beginning of the major arcana. It's the beginning of the tarot. It's all about a new journey, and I see this new journey coming to you. I feel like you're both on this new journey, and I feel like this journey is new, but the old journey has kind of led you to each other. I feel like this person, they were manifesting you before you even met with the Magician. I feel like this person, I mean, they knew what they wanted. They knew what they were looking for. They knew what they needed, and they knew they hadn't found it yet. And I feel like when you know what you want, it's much easier to find. I always use that example of when you go to the grocery store. If you know exactly what you're going for, you're going to find it. And that's exactly what happened. They found you. What they've been manifesting, what they've been waiting for has come to them. And I feel like meeting you changed everything. And you meeting them changed everything. Like I said, we have the Fool, the leap of faith. I feel like they fell from the moment they met you. We have new love here. Now, I do feel like they were afraid of falling in love. Even though they were looking for it, they weren't afraid of falling in love. They were afraid of falling for the wrong one. Because I do feel it's like fear and anxiety kind of overcoming this person. I feel like they've been betrayed before. I feel like you've been betrayed before. And it's kind of like you found each other at the exact right moment. Almost like it was meant to be. With that Ten of Swords, it kind of represents like betrayal. I feel like you've both been hurt. I feel like you're both hurting, and finding each other is the first step of the healing process. You're meant to find each other, like I said, meant to be, because I feel like you make each other stronger. Now, I feel like you are a bit different, but I feel like you balance each other out very well. With the Strength card, that Leo energy, we have the Temperance, that Sagittarius energy. I do feel like there is some differences between you, but I feel like you balance each other out and you make each other better. Like I said, that fear, even though they knew what they wanted, they were afraid. But they're not afraid with you. I get the impression that this person is a strong person, or at least seems very strong. Maybe strong, intellectually, strong physically, but I feel like emotionally they were a bit weak. And that's where I feel like you come in. I feel like you're a bit opposite. Like I said, I don't know why I keep saying it, but I feel like you were a bit opposite, and I feel like you just make each other better. I feel like great couples do that. They make each other better. I'm sorry, I've just slapped I got some wheels on my chair. You nurture, I feel like you nurture each other. And I feel like with that, there's this establishment of trust, like feeling like you can trust them and they feel like they can trust you. With that Star card, that nurturing each other, them trusting you, I feel like it opens them up. It makes them feel like they can be honest with you. It makes them feel like they can be open with you and they can share things with you that never shared with anyone before. And that's where I say you make them stronger. Emotionally, it's not that they're emotionally deficient. I just feel like they never really felt safe in showing emotion. But with you, they open the doors. With you, they feel like they can be honest. And I feel like it's a breath of fresh air. I feel like you knew the moment you met this person. And like I always say with Pisces, trust your intuition, because you guys have one of the greatest intuitions there is. The only downfall with Pisces intuition is sometimes Pisces tend to not listen to it. From the Pisces I know, I don't want to judge everybody, put everybody in a box, because obviously there's other things that play in each person. Your houses may be different, but the Pisces I know, they have great intuition. They just don't always follow it. But I feel like being together, like I said, you make each other stronger. You allow each other to let go of the past and just look to the future. And when I said, meant to be, I wasn't just blowing smoke. We have the Two of Cups. This is a lifelong connection. I feel like this connection is only going to grow and develop. And like I said, when you meet that right person, I feel like you both bring certain things to the table and you make each other better. And what I mean by that is, you do things better, certain things better than they do, and they do certain things better than you do, but together, you're just better. And I hope that makes sense. People always think that, you got to be the same and have the same thing. I feel like as long as you're on the same page and want the same things, what you bring to the table can differ. As long as you're getting there, as long as, if you think about it as in, I don't know where I was going with that. I just had I was drifting a bit. I do that in readings. I'm sorry. Like I said, the Emperor, you think of that as a protector. You think that as that person that makes you feel safe. But I feel like you do that for each other. They feel safe to open up. They feel safe to be who they are. It's almost like you're in your own little personal space together. Without boundaries, without, any outside influence, just you and them. And you just make each other, like I said, I'm not going to say it. You know what I said. I mean, this is two people that were destined to find each other. And I mean, I don't see an end in sight, like I said, with that two of cups. I mean, and we have the Ace of Cups. We have the Hierophant. And the Hierophant followed by the Sun. So I feel like this is something that's going to be I see a strong commitment between the two of you, committing to each other, being there for each other, and finding happiness in that. Sometimes you get the Hierophant and you're not, you don't get that. The Sun card, I mean, especially in this tarot deck, I absolutely love it. You have this woman, she's out there. She didn't put shoes on, she didn't put socks on, she's out in her house coat. She's just loving life. And that's what real love feels like. It feels like freedom. You're not being held back, you're not being restrained. You're being encouraged, you're being nurtured. You're being loved. You're being wanted. It's freeing. As simple as that. If you're in a connection where you feel like you're being held back, we need to look at that. Now, with all this connection that we see, one of the things that we kind of seem to be missing, the one thing that seems to be missing happened to pop up at the very end, which really makes me happy for you. Full of love, this connection is full of love. That's one thing that's for sure. Like I said, meant to be, fulfillment, make each other better, make each other stronger. But we're not lacking in the physical as well. I feel like there's going to be some very intense physical energy between the two of you. And just like everything else in this read, it's going to grow. Wanting each other, mind, body, and soul. That's what we all want. We want someone that wants us and that needs us. And I feel like you need each other. You want each other. And the sky is the absolute limit here. I don't see this going anywhere else but up. Like I said, it's freeing. With that Devil card, that Capricorn energy, it's freeing. It's freeing yourself from being chained down, not feeling like you have to walk on eggshells. A lot of times we'll be in connections where everything seems to go fine, but maybe one thing is off. And that one thing usually, in most cases, grows to be something much bigger. Especially if it's something important. Maybe your sex life is good. Maybe you communicate very well. Maybe you feel safe with that person. But maybe they don't look at you the way you want to be looked at. They don't hear you the way you want to be heard. They don't see you the way you want to be seen. And I've mentioned this many times. I mean, a lot of times we think, it's just a small thing. It's not a big deal. And sometimes it is just a small thing, but sometimes that small thing will fester. It will grow. It's like the elephant in the room. It may start off as a baby elephant. Next thing you know, you're being smothered. The room isn't big enough anymore. It's like those those old cartoons where the balloon expands in a room and there's just nothing. The room's completely full. You got nowhere to go. You know, I one person actually said something similar to the elephant in the room. They said, you know, what if you went into a room and it had an inch of water? You could probably deal with it. It sucks, but you could deal with it. But what if the room started to fill up and fill up and fill up, and eventually that room fills up and you drown? You know, you got nowhere to go. And sometimes it's like that. Small problems can become big problems. Small things can become big things. You know, don't collect red flags. But I love this read for you. You know, with this, I mean, we have Libra, we have Aquarius, we have Aries and Leo, some Sagittarius as well. I mean, like I said, we had Capricorn. We have Cancer and Pisces. You know, it's there's some people that find someone and grow apart. Then there's some people that find someone and grow together. You know, I feel like early on in life, you meet someone and usually grow apart. You know, because you age, and when you age, what you want and what's important to you becomes very different. Like, I know when I was 16, I didn't know what I wanted. Most people don't. You know, what they want in a partner from 16. You know, if you asked your 16-year-old self what you want in a partner, and then you asked your 20-year-old or 24, 25, 30, 40-year-old self what you want from a partner, I'm sure that list, for most people, has changed quite a bit. You know, like, I remember dating this one girl, and it was just after high school. And me, myself, I've always been a family person, very, very family orientated. I always knew I wanted kids. Wasn't in a rush to have them. I don't want to put that out there. I just knew that someday I'd want kids. That was going to be important to me, and I knew that from a very young age. Now with this girl, I was with her a few months, and we had this conversation one night, and she straight up told me she didn't want kids. There's no way she'd ever have kids. Now, I didn't want kids at that time, so it seemed like a small thing. To her, like, it didn't seem like a big deal. We ended up breaking up over that and some other things. But I'm one of those people that when I see a red flag, and it's not a red flag, like, that's no shame on her. Some people don't want to have kids. But I knew my perspective wouldn't change. And the conversation we had, I didn't feel like her, you know, her perspective was going to change either. So we kind of hit like a stalemate. I absolutely wanted kids. She absolutely didn't. So why go any further? So 2, 3, 4, 5 years down the road, I can want kids and be disappointed that she still doesn't. Funny thing is, I saw her a few years ago and she still doesn't have kids. She was serious. You know, it was kind of, I was young and immature, but that was one of the reasons why we broke up, because I just said, what's the point? You know, when you're with someone and even if it's early on, and even if you don't want those things right at that time, the fact that you know that someday you'll want them and that person doesn't, you know, right then, I mean, you know, a lot of people say red flags, you know, and it makes it sound like a bad thing. Sometimes it is a bad thing, but I feel like, you know, with that, it's just, we were just different. She liked to go out a lot. I don't like to go out a lot. I'm not a partier. I never was. I'd rather go over to like a friend's house with a few friends and hang out, have barbecue or something. Like, I'm not into going to bars and pubs, and I'll go to a pub once in a while because I don't mind small settings like that. But I was never into clubs. I didn't like clubs. I didn't like big bars. You know, I was never really into that. And just after high school, I mean, I think I was 19, maybe 20. She was 19 or 20. And, you know, that's another thing. I didn't want to be the person to hold her back either. I didn't want to be the person, because it made me uncomfortable. She liked to go to the bars like every weekend. And I'm not the type of person that will I'll never try to control someone. If that's what you like, then do that. You know? I'm not gonna strip you of your youth. I'm not gonna make you do what I want to do. I want to find someone that wants to do what I want to do and enjoys doing what I want to do, and I enjoy doing what they want to do. I don't know. Some people may call it a bit callous, but I'm not. I don't feel like that's what it is. I feel like when you meet someone and you connect with them, the earlier you have the conversation, and again, looking back, it was a bit presumptuous to believe that she'd always feel that way. But I'm glad I made the decision I made because, like I said, she still doesn't have kids today, as of a couple years ago. So that was really her. But, you know, I know a lot of people that said they didn't want kids, and they have kids now, and they love them. So, I know things can change. But like I said, at the time, I didn't want kids at that time. I wanted to establish myself. I wanted to live my life a little bit and have, some kid-free years. So and she even, I remember the conversation, part of the conversation we had, she's like, but you don't want kids now, so why is it a big deal now? I'm like, it's not a big deal now, but it's going to be a big deal someday. I don't want to spend the next 5-10 years with someone that doesn't want to have kids. Because I'll never change wanting kids. I love my kids. They bring me more joy than I could ever even imagine. So, but sometimes you're just not made for somebody, you know? I think I got off topic. I do that a lot. Anyway, Pisces, I love you. Happy birthday. Take care. Stay safe. Be good.